series. This series is a joint effort of ThinkGeoEnergy and Enerchange, and once again, I am Carlo Carriaga, Editor-in-Chief of ThinkGeoEnergy. This actually is the first webinar in our series to be supported by our newest sponsor, Alternative Earth. Alternative Earth was founded to make advanced subsurface technology accessible for emerging energy sectors. It delivers software solutions for geothermal, hydrogen storage, lithium brine extraction, and more. Their flagship Alt-Earth software is purpose-built for complex geothermal and low-carbon reservoirs. It combines petrophysics, advanced image analysis, and intelligent automation to reduce uncertainty, thus accelerating energy transition decisions at scale globally. We would like to thank Alternative Earth for helping us maintain the quality of the Focus on Geothermal webinar series and also keeping it still freely accessible to everyone. And for this webinar, we're going to talk about Hungary, the Pannonian Basin, the Central and Eastern Europe region, which is, in my opinion, one of the more exciting emerging regions for geothermal, whether you look at it in terms of developed projects or the level of funding or the level of policy support or the early stage development work that is going on in these countries. To tell us more about this subject, we have the pleasure of having Gabor Molnar, Managing Director of Arctic Green Energy and also the President of the Geothermal Division of the Hungarian Renewable Energy Association. Gabor has been with the Arctic Green Engineering since 2008. He started his career at the company's headquarters in Reykjavik in Iceland. And since 2019, he has been the Managing Director of the company, leading its efforts in advancing sustainable geothermal energy solutions. His expertise covers preparation, design, and implementation of geothermal heating systems, power plants, as well as shallow geothermal and heat pump solutions. Over the past 19 years, he has been involved in geothermal energy projects across Europe and worldwide, working on both direct use applications and electricity production. Notably, he was involved as the overall project manager for the development of Hungary's first geothermal power plant in Tura, as well as numerous other geothermal projects. Gabor, the floor is yours. Thank you for being here.
Thank you very much, and welcome everybody here in the webinar. My name is Gabor Molnar. I'm Managing Director of Arctic Green Engineering and also leading the Geothermal division of the Hungarian Renewable Energy Association. And I'm a geothermal specialist engineer. I will talk about the geothermal opportunities and geothermal development possibilities, past and present and future possibilities in Hungary and in broader term in the Pannonian Basin and Central Europe. First, a few words about where I'm coming from. I'm working for almost 20 years in Arctic Green Engineering, earlier in a different name as Monbit. Now we are a member of the Arctic Green Energy Group, a worldwide developer of geothermal energy projects. Iceland-based company, and Arctic Green Engineering is a engineering service provider. Within the group, we have wide experience in all technologies and all knowledge necessary to prepare, design, and implement the geothermal projects, mainly in Central Europe, but also worldwide in numerous projects. Let's start to focus about the Pannonian Basin geothermal potential. That's a very nice map I stolen from ThinkGeoEnergy and GeoElec, showing that the geothermal potential of Europe, which allows by different technologies utilization of geothermal energies everywhere around Europe. By the colors, it can be seen that beside the hotspots like Iceland, Turkey, Italy, and then some very hot areas of Budapest, the Hungary and the Pannonian Basin are one of the hottest area. Still, if you see the already developed project, the purple column are the heating and the bluish are the electricity installed electricity capacities. Maybe not updated this year, it's a last year picture. It shows that in the Central European region or Pannonian Basin region, there is a huge potential which is not developed and could be, and I'm pretty sure that will be developed in the near future for production, both electricity and both heating direct use. Zooming into Hungary, as covering most of the Pannonian Basin, we can see that the potential is of course not equal by all territories. There are some hotspots where the temperature could reach almost 180 to 200 degrees Celsius in great depth, of course. But almost the entire area of territory of Hungary has the temperature and resource appropriate for geothermal energy production in some extent. In the blue areas, the temperature is pretty low. There are mainly mountainous areas where, of course, geothermal is not the first renewable energy option, but in most of the area there is some some temperature of geothermal energy could be harvested from different depths, and Hungary and in this sense similar to Iceland have a very long history of geothermal utilization. We can talk about the Greek, the Roman ages and the ancient ages where the hot springs are used for bathing, but also when most of the Hungary is part of the Turkish Empire, there were a lot of spas developed, and they are still in use. The most famous, including most famous spas in Budapest, which shows the potential and the old tradition of using geothermal heat for bathing, and because of this, most of the thermal energy in Hungary and most of the drilled wells in Hungary are used for spa or bathing purposes. There are, according to the online database of the geothermal wells, there are 453 thermal wells, different depths. Some of them are very shallow, some of them are deeper, are in operation or built for servicing thermal spas, and really there are a lot in Hungary. Also, the agriculture is very strong in using geothermal. All 300 wells are heating greenhouses and agricultural facilities. There are some shallow ones, which some of them used only for also for irrigation, but most of them are for heating purposes. District heating is an area where geothermal has a huge potential. I will show that. There are already some 15 district heating systems in Hungary which are already running in geothermal basis. But much more is not yet implemented, but the potential is there and could be and will be developed for geothermal use. Industries in the recent years, there were a lot of and large industries settled in Hungary. Some of them are turning towards green energies, turning towards energy independency, and they are implementing their own geothermal system for heating purposes, and that's also a sector what will drive the next year's development of geothermal heating. And there are only one single well, production well, which is used for electricity production purpose. There is one geothermal power plant. If you don't find this gray dot that's here in the middle of Hungary, I don't know if you see my mouse. That's the power plant in Tura, but there are more under development. The main advantage of the Pannonian Basin in regard of geothermal that the geothermal gradient is very high, 40 to 60 degree per kilometer, and because of the geological formations, there are a lot of different type of reservoirs available to explore and to use for geothermal purposes. Just one slide, because I'm not a geologist, so I don't want to go deep into the geological details. But the two main rock types or formations that are used for geothermal are the Pannonian sandstone, which covers most of the territory of the Pannonian Basin, and a different type of carbonites or calcified rocks. The sandstone layer, they are closer to the surface, very well predictable, very reliable reservoirs. There are difficulties with reinjection because of the nature of the sandstone, and most of the wells, almost 2/3 of the geothermal wells in operation are using this sandstone formation for geothermal production. A little bit deeper, there are not everywhere, but in most of the area of the Pannonian Basin, there are different kind of carbonate rocks, which are very good reservoirs. Huge yield or large yield could be achieved. There could be issues with the water, chemical composition of the water, but there are no problem with reinjection. They are used also for heating, and this one single well air, the power plant projects that are under development are targeting this reservoir. But beside those two main, there are other types like volcanic rocks, which were recently developed for one of the industries, geothermal systems which are using some kind of volcanic rocks and very successfully drilled wells and rocks from the Miocene age, which have the secondary porosity or fractured zone, and beneath all them there is a fractured basement reservoir, which opens possibility either for advanced geothermal technologies, or if they contain water, then for the conventional hydrothermal production. So there are several reservoir types, several possibilities, which allows us engineers to find the best option for the needs, or to supply the needs. Lower temperature, lower yield; higher temperature, higher yield, but higher cost well could be drilled. As mentioned, there are several type of utilization already exist in Hungary, from the one single power plant through there are some absorption cooling possibilities, several industrial heating, greenhouses, and also what I haven't mentioned yet, the shallow geothermal is spreading very rapidly, and there are also support schemes from government or policies from government which supports the implementation of shallow geothermal, either closed loop or open loop system to provide heating and cooling. Until now, single buildings or industrial facilities, even very large facilities, like in the picture in the lower right picture, implemented this shallow closed loop borehole system for heating and cooling, but it could also be used for some space heating or district heating systems for smaller scale. And yeah, the famous Pécsenyi spa and the other spas are widely spread in Hungary. I mentioned the district heating system as what I believe provides the greatest opportunity for geothermal developments in Hungary in the near future. There are more than 220 district heating systems in Hungary in operation, smaller and larger ones. And the main heat source of the district heating system are natural gas. This chart from the Hungarian District Heating Organization shows the composition of the heat sources. Already there are some 9% geothermal heat source, the purple part on the top of the lines, but the most of them are mainly natural gas based. The red are gas engines, the green are combined heat and power, mainly from a natural gas source, and the blue bars are the gas boilers, which are directly just burning gas. If you compare the location of the district heating system with the geothermal potential map of Hungary, then it can be shown or can be seen very clearly that most of the district heating systems could be supplied by geothermal heat, maybe not fully. The temperature could be adjusted, because most of the district heating systems are old ones built in the 70s, 80s, 90s, so they are running in high temperature. But due to the recent activities or developments or modernizations of the heating system, the operation temperature is continuously decreasing, and also there are also opportunities or possibilities to attach a geothermal system into a district heating system where the temperature does not fully match, but to just heat partly or use heat pumps to increase the temperature. So based on the overall country level evaluation, we can say that most of the gas boiler based heatings could be replaced by geothermal heat source. Here it's written 60 to 90%. The main obstacle are not the technology, but the economics, the financial capability, which of course depends on the gas prices, which are very volatile today. That's a goal that this geothermal community could achieve. The rest are more effective heating sources, so the combined heat and power and gas engines. Technically, they could be replaced, but a majority of them also could be replaced by geothermal source, but the economics are different because of the electricity production also ongoing, especially nowadays when electricity could be an issue because of this high temperature outside. So they must be evaluated one by one if it's feasible or not to replace. But this also shows a big potential of geothermal development in the district heating sector. The other main utilization type are the electricity production. There are three main areas identified in Hungary where there is appropriate temperature and appropriate reservoir looks for geothermal electricity production. Outside of these circles, there are also areas and there are projects under preparation, but they are the main locations where electricity production is possible, and from this sense, I say that where the temperature could be higher than 120 degree or 130 degree, which are appropriate for binary technology to be economically feasible and operate. In some places, like here in the southeast, the temperature could be even higher. They are the places where close to 200 degree could be achieved. A typical size of a binary power plant can be implemented in Hungary is 5 to 50 megawatts per location. There are areas where larger or even 200 megawatts could be achieved, but the huge size of geothermal power plants will not be built in Hungary. The real possibility is here to build several smaller plants scattered all around and decreasing the grid losses and provide electricity production locally or supply into the grid. Very important to mention the waste heat capacity of the geothermal power plants, because that's again a possibility also for district heating systems and industries and agriculture to use the waste heat from the binary power plants, also increasing the feasibility. Actually in low temperatures, that's essential to utilize the waste heat to build a really feasible, economically feasible geothermal electricity production project. There are several different estimations what the total capacity could be implemented in Hungary for geothermal electricity purpose. 300, 700 megawatt electrical capacity for the known resources, and for others which are not yet explored, maybe similar or double this size could be achieved. So altogether around 1 gigawatt electrical capacity might be installed, but this is a very uncertain number because there is no thorough exploration for the entire country about the achievable geothermal electricity capacity. Maybe 2 gigawatts, yeah, no one knows. Why I said that geothermal electricity could contribute to decrease the grid losses and provide energy security. Because if I add a layer about the Hungarian national grid and the main power plants that are in operation in Hungary, it could be seen that those three circles, areas where what we identified as the best locations for geothermal electricity production, they are in the areas where farthest from the big power plants. So it can very well contribute to provide electricity for the national grid. And actually today, because of the lot of weather-dependent renewables, the Hungarian national grid is heavily loaded or overloaded. So that's currently the main obstacle against implementing geothermal power plants. It's difficult to find free capacities to connect to the national grid. There are governmental programs, of course, to amend the grid and increase the capacity. So that's expected to happen soon. Few words about the current projects and current legislation scheme of Hungary. There were a change in 2023. Before that, there were some different legislations and different types of licenses necessary for a geothermal project to implement. And there were two main authorities, the water and the mining authority, to license geothermal projects. And from 2023, the government decided to simplify the licensing of the geothermal developments and made a new law. So the geothermal energy is now to be licensed under the mining law, starting by applying for a geothermal exploration license. This is and that's a very similar method than in the other Central European countries, in the neighboring countries, with some different details. In Hungary, it's a very easy process to apply for a geothermal exploration license, and it causes no commitment. So of course we have to show the project, we have to show the exploration plan that we plan to do, and we have to provide a bank guarantee, but it's only for the mining damages. And there are strict deadlines defined by the authority. If we don't follow the deadlines, then the consequence is that the authority could withdraw the license, and it will be again an open territory, and somebody else could apply. But there is no other obligation to follow, which is good and bad. Also opens the possibility for anybody to apply for an exploration area and start thinking about what to do with that, but also gives an opportunity for a developer to very easily get protection and start preparing the project with a relatively secure environment. In other countries, like in Slovakia, for example, the exploration program, there are deadlines defined by the law, so you have to follow your exploration program. Otherwise, there are financial consequences if you don't explore as planned. Both have pros and cons. Hungary decided to go this way and Slovakia the other way, but in main terms, the licensing are very similar. After getting the exploration license, the investor have to apply for establishment license for the object, like the wells, like the surface system, to build up the facilities for geothermal utilization. And after the successful exploration, meaning to drilling the successful well, a contract need to be signed with the Energy Ministry for the long-term utilization of the geothermal resource. And of course, a mining area protection zone will be defined, which provides exclusivity to use the geothermal resource within the area. Here in this map, you can show that what are the currently existing geothermal projects in Hungary. The green ones are the heating, the reddish ones are the geothermal power plant projects. Most of them are in the exploration phase. There are a few exploration areas which are just applied for license but not yet decided by the authority, and there are a few like here in Győr, there are some in Budapest which are already finished and got the protection zone, and the operation has been started. Most of these projects, I can say, are waiting for financing. So that's again an issue in Hungary. There are governmental schemes, I will talk about that, and there are investors, but also there are difficulties to finance geothermal projects, and many very promising projects are just going very slowly and seeking for financing opportunities. In the next slide, I summarized the main challenges, and it's not only Hungary, and probably not only Central Europe, but in most of the countries we are working. There are some, and I'm not talking here about the geological risk and the drilling risks, which are obvious in terms of a geothermal project everywhere in the world, and there are financial, technical solutions to mitigate that risk. But those challenges, which are related to the business, to the implementation, and to the financing of the project. The first are the legislation challenges. Although there is a simplified licensing procedure in place, still there are some obstacles which are not in favor of for the investor, and there are some projects which are failed because they could not meet the legislation requirements, although they were progressing and they were promising projects. And also the energy price regulation or heat price regulation, which again exists in most of the countries around the Pannonian Basin. The district heating prices are regulated by the government to protect also the investor and protect the consumers against very volatile prices. But this also gives an uncertainty and profit limitation for the investor. There is an active communication with the authorities, with the government, so those legislations are step by step adjusted. Luckily, they listen to the communities or to the associations from the industry, so they are adjusted to be more favorable for implementations, because that is a very clear intention of most of the governments here in Central Europe to promote and attract geothermal projects and support them by policies and in some cases by financial subsidies. I mentioned already the financing challenges. Just as everywhere in the region, the municipalities are not the richest organizations, so they have very low capacity to invest and develop even their existing distribution systems, but also a new and in some cases risky geothermal well. There are investors who are interested and who are active. They are looking, of course, for a stable political and stable legislation environment, which is now in the way. So I can say that it is now granted, or the legislation is being adjusted to be more favorable. In regards of electricity production, the feed-in tariff system is a challenge. It's not really made for geothermal electricity production currently. It's the solars were preferred in the last few years, and there were a huge amount of solar plants implemented. This also needs to be adjusted to attract more investors in the geothermal electricity generation projects. There are challenges in the market. I mentioned the national grid and mentioned the district heating price regulation, which makes some distance between the investor and the market. The solution is on the way. A few words about what are the current incentives or driving factor to facilitate geothermal. There are subsidies for the district heating sector provided by the European Union or provided by the different governments in the central European region. They are targeting mainly the modernization and increasing the energy efficiency of district heating systems. In some cases, grants are available to prepare the district heating system to receive renewable heat sources, and also the connection could be built. There are special incentives for geothermal development. They are open in Hungary, and there are grants from the EU which are available in other countries. There is a risk mitigation grant which provides financial subsidy in case of a failed well. There is an interest-free loan as a subsidy available for geothermal development. There is subsidy available for geothermal power production, and there are tax reduction possibilities in case of implementing renewable energy projects or renewable energy supply projects. In the near future, as there are intensive negotiations with the European Union, probably a very large amount of European Union grants will open again for Hungary. It is expected by most of the sectors, or also the geothermal industry, that grants mainly targeting for geothermal district heating will open to implement green energies and increase energy efficiency, and also grants for subsidizing drilling and risk mitigations are further expected. The main factors which are driving the geothermal development, there is, of course, the District and Energy Efficiency Directive from the European Union, which defines defines level of renewable heat sources or combined heat and power, but mainly renewable heat sources to be reached by in the next 5 years, 10 years by every district heating systems. And in Hungary and in the other countries, there are national energy strategies which are prioritizing the renewable energies, and especially geothermal in the district heating sector. And also there is a national geothermal strategy which defines the goals that needs to be achieved. But also, and it's mainly in the industry sector, there is a huge demand of green energies, market demand to make the production based on green energy supply. And also Hungary has the intention to reduce the natural gas dependency. I think Hungary is the most natural gas dependent country in Europe. And also energy security is a question that gets more and more attention nowadays. And geothermal could be beneficial in this, not talking about the carbon emission saving. Last few slides about what are the opportunities we see. I talked a lot about the district heating, so I don't waste too much time again about that. It is the most supported area to transform the district heating system into green energy sources, and that many policies and many incentives are formed to support that. Heating of industries, because of the today's increasing prices of the oil and gas. Industrial facilities are seeking for other opportunities to produce their own energy, not to rely on the natural gas supply or the grid electricity supply, and also the market demands the green production. Mentioned already shallow geothermal, which more and more industries are turning towards shallow geothermal, which can provide not only heating but cooling also. Cooling demand is also increasing. Just looking out the window, there is a clear cooling demand today. It's a very well scalable and low risk implementation. So for private investors, it could be more attractive than drilling a deep geothermal well, especially for a smaller consumption needs. For geothermal electricity production, I talked about the binary technology, when the temperature is above 120, 130 degree, they could be implemented in the previously showed areas of Hungary and in other places as well. Important to use their waste heat for heating purposes, not only to increase the financial feasibility, but also to increase the efficiency of using our resources or our thermal reservoirs. Another interesting and very rapidly evolving technology is this micro scale geothermal power plants. And I copied here an early slide showing that most of the district heating system are using, if it's geothermal, 60 to 100 degrees Celsius temperature, but they are not using this heat over summer. And in most of the year, the total capacity of the geothermal wells are not in use. So there is an option to attach a microscale modular unit, maybe just a few times 10 kilowatts or 100 kilowatts or maybe a megawatt size capacity to utilize the unused capacity of the geothermal heating systems in district heating, in agriculture, or very well. That could increase the feasibility and could provide the own consumption of a heating system, or could be used locally. This will not replace the large nuclear power plants of Hungary, but this can contribute a lot in the electricity energy security of a community. Lastly, because of all the very great history of Hungary's geothermal developments and a lot of geothermal heating system and agricultural system and spas developed in the last 50 years or more, 60, 70 years in Hungary, there are many companies who are specialized and very highly qualified in geothermal developments. And that's an opportunity for Hungary or for the Hungarian companies to provide their services abroad. In other European countries or even in Asian countries, geothermal developments are in 1 or 2 steps behind. Like in the Central European region, they are looking for the companies who has the knowledge, who has the experience in geothermal technologies, and I'm talking about also the service companies, the consultant companies like us, drilling companies, technology providers, constructors, who has the experience in geothermal. Most of them, they don't even know that what valuable knowledge they have, and this could be used in elsewhere in the world. This is also an opportunity what Hungary could use. Lastly, a vision what could be achieved for large cities, industries, agriculture, combination of different geothermal technologies, combination of other renewable sources technologies, and at last, besides reinjection, using the waste heat for bioenergy, that could provide the ideal, optimal, and very carbon-free and effective energy supply system for large communities, 100% replacing the conventional hydrocarbon sources. This is what we are working for and would like to achieve. After my presentation, I would like to mention the Budapest Geothermal Energy Summit, what we are sponsoring. It will take part in 14th of September in Budapest. That's one of the largest and geothermal event in Central Europe. Many companies from Hungary and from the European region will attend, as attended in the last few years. I can just recommend everybody to take part. There are interesting discussions every time and interesting speeches and a lot of kind people we could meet. Thank you very much. And if you have any question, then I'm here to answer. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Gabor, for that. That was a very good summary of the opportunities for geothermal in Hungary. For those in the audience, just feel free to send in your questions. There should be a questions tab somewhere in your webinar interface. And so just send in your questions, and we'll get to them over the coming minutes. As you showed, there is this very big opportunity for district heating, for geothermal and district heating in Hungary. So my question is, what do you think has been the biggest hurdle for integrating more geothermal or replacing natural gas systems? Is it a lack of, say, long-term contracts for heating? Is it low heating prices, or is it a lack of access to financing? Like, what would you say would be the most immediate solution that you think can help with the adaptation of geothermal for district heating in Hungary?
Mhm. I think, and thank you for asking this. There are many in conferences and in the geothermal community. There are many talks about the risk of geothermal drilling, the risk of the geology, and how to mitigate and how to educate the people about accepting this risk or mitigating this risk. As I see, this is not the main obstacle. So there are solutions for technical challenges, even the temperature mismatch, even the capacities on. So this is solvable. The main obstacle are business and market sense obstacles. So all you mentioned. So the current regulation, for example, for determining the heat prices by the energy authority. This is something that gives uncertainty for an investor at the beginning of the project. Although there are estimations and there is a well-defined procedure in the law how to determine the heat prices, but still it is not possible to sign a contract for a heat price before the investment. It will be determined by the energy authority, which gives uncertainty, and that is an obstacle for investors. Also, the term of the heat sale agreement is okay. It could be signed for a long term. Financing is also not a problem. There are several investors to finance geothermal. Geothermal heating actually is a good business. You can see everywhere. Even our mother company, Arctic Green, has more than 1,000 wells and operating huge district heating system and profiting from it. So that's a good business. And even in Hungary, also the price. Of course, the prices are lower here than, for example, in Germany, but still provides the necessary payback for a geothermal investor. But those small legislation obstacles, which are currently under adjustment by the government or will soon, according to the information we got, they are slowing down the development of geothermal.
Okay, then we already have a lot of questions coming in.
Yeah,
but
please.
but maybe I'll ask a question of my own first. You showed this map earlier of geothermal power production potential in Hungary. And one of the sites with expected high temperatures was somewhere in the south, in Szeged. And as I understand, this is already one of the more extensive geothermal district heating projects, even across Europe, right? This is one of the bigger ones.
Yes.
So are the wells in Szeged already tapping into temperatures that are good enough or high enough for power production?
No, they are not. First of all, they are just approximate circles. So don't consider it as Szeged is in, so it's possible. Kiskunhalas is out, so it's not possible. Just somewhere there, and maybe not everywhere. So it's not a flat good area. In Szeged, the wells currently in use are drilled in the sandstone layer, but I showed earlier. This is not deep enough or not hot enough for electricity production. But according to certain geological estimations, there might be a deeper reservoir close to the city, which could be appropriate for electricity production, not yet explored. So that's why I talk with some uncertainty there.
Okay, then let's get to some of the questions being asked. This one's interesting. Is there any interest from oil and gas players in Hungary to participate in geothermal, or even say mining companies, or is there a possible scheme for the conversion of oil and gas wells to geothermal?
Yes and no. There are thousands of abandoned hydrocarbon wells all over in Hungary, which which are very useful or very important data source for geothermal explorations. And some of them could be used for geothermal purpose, and there are some examples. For example, the earlier mentioned Tura power plant is using it's running by one production two reinjection wells, and one of the reinjection well is an old hydrocarbon well. But in most cases, they are either in very bad condition or in very uncertain condition. So that's a difficulty to use them for geothermal purpose. But most likely, some of them or few of them are appropriate to use for geothermal. They are not the lowest hanging fruit, although it looks to be, but there are some technical difficulties. The oil and gas companies, yes, there is one, the Molnar, Hungarian National Oil and Gas Company. They are active in geothermal. They have several exploration areas. They have their project ongoing. Just as all large companies, they are progressing very slowly. They started geothermal developments decades ago, but probably soon they will have a implemented project. So yes, there is intention. They are not the largest investor for geothermal. Mm-hmm.
Okay, can you tell us about any existing risk mitigation schemes or any existing subsidy schemes that have been supporting geothermal in Hungary?
Yes, I don't want to go into very details, but whoever is interested, please just feel free to contact me, and I can share the links and whatever. Currently, there are three main directly geothermal subsidy schemes available, provided by the government. One is it's a limited budget grant targeted for geothermal power production. I'm not really sure about the status. Maybe this is already filled or fully applied. The two more important is the geothermal risk mitigation grant, which one investor could apply by the first exploration well, which called to be exploration, but in reality it's a first production and reinjection well of the geothermal system, and it provides 10% subsidy for the well in case of us drilling a successful well, and 45% grant in case of a failure or unsuccessful well, if the well site is recultivated. There is another grant available, and anybody can apply. That's the interest-free loan for geothermal systems, including drilling, not the same drilling, of course. If somebody would apply for both grants, for the second drilling and the surface system.
Okay, this is another very specific question. Which agency regulates geothermal exploration licenses in Hungary, and would you know when the next licensing round is?
It's the mining authority. What is now under the umbrella of STFH, or in English abbreviation is SARA authority. And it's the geothermal exploration licenses are not published in rounds. Anybody can apply anytime to submit an exploration license request to the mining authority, and the mining authority will have 2 months to evaluate and award or refuse the license request.
When we're talking about financing, like you mentioned that most of the projects are in the state of waiting for financing. What have been which institutions in Hungary have been most active in providing investments or any sort of financing for geothermal projects?
This statement is mainly true for the district heating projects, which are municipality driven, because municipalities are lacking huge financing capabilities. There are the mentioned governmental incentives, and I think everybody who could, they have applied or will apply for these incentives. and there are private investors from Hungary and from abroad who are investing and negotiating with certain municipalities on a project owner to invest in geothermal. There is now, I can say Valley, because there were much more investors interested in Hungary 1 or 2 years ago, and I'm sure there will be more. There were this political changes and legislation changes which just slowed down a little bit, and now the speed is increasing again.
Okay, then here's a question about drilling. Would you say that there are enough drilling services providers in Hungary locally, or and the next question is, what are the rig capacity requirements for Hungary? Like, well, what kind of depths are we targeting when it comes to either heating or power generation?
The first question is yes, there are drilling companies in Hungary, and currently with this today's little bit lower activity, there is enough drilling capacity in Hungary to service the projects. It was not the situation, for example, 2 years ago, and I'm pretty sure that in the next year or 2 years from now there will be much more requests than the existing drilling capacity in Hungary. But there are the drilling industry or drilling market doesn't stop at the border, so there are a lot of drilling companies all around from other countries who are already active in Hungary and have experience and license to operate in Hungary. So I think it's no problem to drill a well in Hungary. The typical depth is between 1 and 3 kilometers, and most of the wells we are designing and most of the projects we are participating are targeting around 2 kilometer depth, 1.8, 2.3. So that's the most typical. 100, 200 tons rig could drill those wells. Of course, we prefer the large diameter well, so it's a little bit higher hook load rig is needed to drill them. Mm-hmm.
All right, then. You had this slide earlier about the expertise of Hungarian companies throughout its history in geothermal production. So can you tell us some examples of, say, Hungarian companies involved in geothermal projects outside of the country?
I don't want to name any company except us, because I don't want to prioritize one company who we are working in close partnership and not mention another company who we are not working, and probably not first in my mind. So I would like to avoid that. But for example, in Slovakia, there are drilling companies and service companies who were drilling wells and be active. Also in Croatia and in Poland and in Mongolia, for example, and in Greece, there were Hungarian companies drilled wells and provide. And of course, our company, we are an Icelandic and Hungarian company, so not a pure traditional Hungarian company, but we are Hungarian because all of our engineers are Hungarians, and we are working all over in Europe and worldwide. So that would be an example. And we work in many projects also in abroad. We work in partnership with Hungarian other companies, so for geophysical surveys, for special engineering tasks, etc. So I clearly see the opportunity. Mm-hmm.
Okay, then when it comes to subsidy schemes or any kind of risk mitigation schemes, what are the things that you think Hungary lacks right now? Or is there a certain subsidy scheme that you would like to emulate, like in another country with more extensive the geothermal district heating? What do you think is a good model which can be implemented in Hungary?
Mm-hmm. I think if we're talking about the earlier mentioned drilling risk, what is, I believe, something that could be very well mitigated, but still, from financing point of view, this is an obstacle. Bank financing, for example, is very hardly possible for the first drilling. And if I would choose or define a subsidy scheme, then I would target for the first drilling. Subsidy, which is not only risk mitigation, because the risk mitigation is good for a company who has the financing capability to drill a well. But in the financial calculation, of course, decreasing the risk increases the RR or MPV. But those who doesn't really have the financing, like municipalities, to drill the first well, they would need a subsidy which can finance large portion or even 100% of drilling the first well. And after a successful first drilling, project financing from private sources or from bank sources are much more easier. So then it could be solved in market basis. And there is a good example in Iceland, what I time to time mentioned. I think it's not today, it's the past subsidy scheme in Iceland. They provided this kind of grant for the first drilling. If the drilling was failed, then the investor just kept the money as a risk mitigation. If the drilling was successful, then the subsidy was turned into a long-term loan. So he could pay back. He should pay back the subsidy from the operation revenue, and I think that is a good model.
Yeah, I agree. It's actually becoming quite common for a lot of countries trying to develop geothermal sectors. Okay, so maybe just to wrap up the discussion, can you tell us a little bit about which projects or which geothermal sites in Hungary do you think are most exciting, or it would be good to keep an eye on, for this next 3 to 5 years or so?
Oh, it's difficult to define a specific area. There is a geothermal power plant development at the South Hungary, which we are participating now. That's a very exciting project for us. And also there are small geothermal projects all around. But what is the most interesting is Budapest, the capital city, where the geothermal resource is probably one of the best in country, and the heat market is the largest in the country, and the difficulties are the most. So also the geology is very complex, and there are a lot of spots needs to be protected, and there are the several district municipalities, lot of interest, so a lot of legislation. So that is a long-term goal. But there are several intentions to build district heat, geothermal heat supply in Budapest, and 200-300 megawatts capacity could be achieved. I think once it started, it will be a great development comparable to Paris or those kind of large geothermal projects in Europe now.
Okay, maybe just a follow up on that. Budapest is an interesting market because it's also a very dense city.
Yep.
So are there any challenges associated with that in terms of, say, drilling sites, or maybe even social acceptance?
Of course, a lot. In every densely populated cities, to find a drilling site within Budapest and to protect the residents against the noise, that's a challenge. It has been done successfully in Szeged, for example, the city you mentioned. There are 27 wells drilled. Most of them are within the city, close to the houses, block of flats. So this could be solved. And there are also areas, you can find areas within Budapest, maybe not as easy as in a small town when there is just a green field and you can go there and drill, but that's solvable. Of course, a challenge and makes it more difficult, but not an obstacle. The biggest challenge in Budapest are the geology and a lot of fractures, and because it's an urban area for 1,000 or 2,000 years old from age, there are no existing data, no hydrocarbon wells and no seismic surveys. So a little bit lack of data. Of course, there are the thermal wells and it's provide very, very valuable data. And recently there were some seismic surveys in the outskirts of Budapest made, but still it's a risky area.
Yeah, it's also a very exciting and high potential area, I imagine. Okay, then. Speaking of Budapest, of course, if there are any people in the audience that are interested in this topic, then we will discuss more of the same in the Budapest Geothermal Energy Summit coming up on the 14th of September. So I will also be there along with Gabor and a bunch of expert speakers. So for those who are interested, registration is still available in early bird rate. So that we suggest registering soon. Gabor, thank you for your time, and to the audience, thank you for attending, and I hope everyone has a nice weekend.
Thank you very much. Thank you for listening. Thank you for inviting me. And just if there is any more question from somebody, feel free to contact me. Thank you very much.
Okay then. Bye everyone. Thank you.
Bye.